and sit down.
Hello there. If this video's accidentally come to you by YouTube algorithm and we're on a just next, don't click away. Don't click away. This is the best thing you'll ever hear, at least for maybe the next 10 minutes, and if you turn your headphones on to everything else. But anyway, we are two random men discussing life and Lego across the internet. So if you don't know who I am Chris from BrickScene. And over to my, is this left or right? I don't know on YouTube.
You're on my left. I don't know when I'm confused, man.
Whatever.
I'm Rich. I'm sorry. I was just going to say I'm Rich. I'm from BrickScene.
He isn't rich, but he's called Rich. So
yeah.
So anyways, this podcast is called Some Assembly Acquired. This is our second episode. The first episode we released last week, so you haven't watched that, go and check that out as well. But basically, we discuss things that old men discuss as well as Lego. So we kind of throw that in there as well. So Rich, you decided you wanted to start a new thing this week on the podcast at the start of it. So do you want to talk people through?
Well, yes, but I'm still not prepared to actually put it right. So I was going to start off with some apologies. I'll tell you what I can start off with, though. I can start off with something quite exciting, is that we are actually on a number of podcast outlets now, which I've sorted out this week. So look, I'll run through them. Pretty much everywhere except Apple so far. You know, the one that people use the most. But apparently that takes a little bit longer. So we're on Breaker, we're on Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify, as well as Anchor.
Boom! I think Tim Cook's just waiting because he's going to put me up there next to Tay-Tay. So, the podcast is going up there. It takes a little bit of time for Tim Cook.
An extra level of review. Yeah. I think that's what's happening, to be honest. But what I was going to do was kick off these podcasts with an apology or clarifications from the previous week, because there is pretty much a 99.9% that I will get something wrong throughout it. I kept referring to Games Workshop, which, of course, like I said, I've never stepped a foot in. I kept referring to it as GameStop, and it's not GameStop.
I did notice that, but
you did notice that. No, I picked up on it later. I'm like, why do I keep saying that?
To be honest, I don't think it really matters anyway, because it's not even called that anymore. It hasn't been called that for a long, long time. It's now called Warhammer, so don't worry about it.
Warhammer? Is it called Warhammer now?
Yeah, so the toys are obviously called Warhammer, or majority of them, Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. So yeah, they changed the name of it quite a while ago to Warhammer, so it doesn't even matter anymore. Don't worry. People won't remember.
No, good. And the only other clarification was I kept referring to the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium as 2014. It is actually, in fact, 2015.
Oh,
I've got to get these things right, man. If I'm meant to know about this sort of stuff, I need to get these dates right. So anyway, I feel I must apologize.
It's when people always ask me which Death Star I have, and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of look at it like when I picked it up, and I'm like, age-wise, I think it was about 10 years ago. And then no, that's the 2008 one. It's like, oh, okay, is it?
Is it?
Oh, I don't know. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. How's your week been anyway?
Yeah, it's been all right, mate. Yeah, it's been pretty busy this week, actually. But other than that, it's been fine. I have not released any videos, which is quite an interesting one for me. I'm trying to not do as much content, but do better content. So, I've been more working on videos in the background than actually doing any. But other than that, a load of minifigures came through this week from Hong Kong, finally. They all look good. So if you are thinking of getting stuff from Hong Kong from BrickLink, it seemed to work absolutely fine. Although this morning, my last one says it's gone to a PO box, and I don't own a PO box, so I don't know what's gone on there. So I'm just
waiting. Doing a round trip. It's doing a round trip. It's heading home by the sounds of things.
Well, it says delivered. Yeah, this is my worry. So I'm going to... it says delivered, and it says been delivered to a PO box. So yeah, I might have to ring them later. It might have been an error, and they're going to come through the Royal Mail today. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But I've got my other ones. The more expensive, important ones have arrived, so that's good. So yeah, how about you?
Well, it's been a fairly rough week, actually. I've had what I think my first cold since pre-COVID. I mean, I haven't had COVID or anything. I haven't had my jab or anything neither. They're rolling out pretty slow down here in New Zealand. But yeah, I haven't had a cold in what feels like a couple of years now. So I had a cold this week, which has really put me back on doing anything, really, as it goes. But
Yeah,
no, coming right now. But yeah, it was just after Sunday there. Just started feeling a bit crook, and I was like, oof, this is something I haven't felt in a while. No, it's all good. It's all good.
the problem is that you have to
It's been
talk about
raining
now.
most of the week. It's not like I've had anything to do.
When you get a cold in this day and age now, it's always like you have to. Everyone seems to come up with this like it's an extra line now. It's like it's not COVID. Just got a cold. It's not. Whereas before it used to be like it's not man flu, but I've got a cold. It's not man flu, but I've got a cold. Now it's like it's not COVID. Don't worry, I'm not contagious.
It's not COVID. It's not COVID. And yeah, I better check myself out of work for the day as well. You know, just in case. Just in case.
Just in case.
I work for myself, but my business partner didn't appreciate it too much. But calling in sick from home. But yeah, it was. So, yeah.
There hasn't really been much information about Lego this week, really. There's been a couple of rumors for Star Wars. But other than that, I don't think
there's been the minifig release for the Forge, the Star Wars, and of course, better pictures have now come out with for Boba Fett as well. And
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen that? There's clearer pictures of Boba Fett out there now, and also Crosshair's head from the Bad Batch shuttle. So I
did see that. Yeah, he looks like he's just got a bullseye on his eye, doesn't he? Now.
Yeah. But, and the other thing was the typewriter, and I think that's where I want to start tonight. I want to start with the typewriter.
Well, I want to know you can tell how bothered I am by the fact that I forgot it existed.
You know what my kid said? What's that? Yeah, what's that? He could read it. he knew what it was because he saw that it was a typewriter, but he was like, what does that do?
Maybe this is the new 80+ line that they're doing. Could they just take the instead of 18?
Not something you're picking up there, eh?
To be honest, I think it's great. Like all the haters that are going to come in now and smash that dislike. Honestly, I think it's a fantastic model. I think it's cool. I think the engineering around it's really cool, like how all the hammers move and how it actually goes across the page. And I like the detail where they've added in the letter as well. So I have actually watched the design video and stuff. To me, I don't know if you agree with this, Rich, but to me in my collection anyway, I don't really buy the in-world items because they're kind of pointless in my opinion. And what I mean by that is the fact that if I want a typewriter to have on display, I'll buy a 20 quid typewriter to put on display. And it actually has the function of being a typewriter. It actually works instead of faking being a typewriter. So I just find it a little bit weird. Like the ones where I say that go against this is like the flowers. And the flowers are great because flowers I kill. So it's kind of good to have the Lego flowers. But like map of the world, potentially like the globe, it's not going to be a real representation of a globe because they won't be able to physically do that. So I don't know, stuff like that I just find a bit pointless, but personally, just in my collection.
The map of the world, I quite like that, the look of that. I mean, I don't really like the color scheme, but I quite like the actual I like the fact that it's a really, really big model as such. You know, it's a big piece of art. And if you want to look at a piece of art that size, you'd pay good money. So it's quite a reasonably priced piece of art, if that's how you want to look at it. The globe, that doesn't really interest me. I mean, the piano is another one, put in the same sort of category as that typewriter. And it's like, it kind of looks okay, but, it catches the sunlight and all you can see is all the bricks and all the imperfections put together. And I just don't think it looks that great on display, especially under the light,
Yeah, I don't know.
Typewriter's an easy miss for me. Easy.
I mean, to me, I think the typewriter is great if you're like. I was trying to think of the use case for it because, like you're saying, like your kid doesn't know who it is. So obviously, it's going to be definitely aimed at more the 18+ market. But then I'm thinking who actually would want that, and I'm thinking potentially could be a fantastic present for if someone was a novelist or a writer, or someone who's in. I know people do actually collect typewriters, so potentially someone who collects the typewriters as well could be kind of cool. But other than that, I don't really see many use cases for people that would buy it. So let us know in the comments below if you know any, if you're like interested in getting it or not. Because I'm just trying to think of use cases of why you would get it, other than potentially someone who's really into Lego and just likes the look of it and wants to know how it's all put together. Because I know that's obviously a lot of people do that as well. But I don't know. Just for mass market appeal, I don't really see who's going to buy it personally.
What is it? What is the diagram where you have the intersecting circles? Is that a Venn diagram? Is that the right one?
I think so. That might have to be one that you got wrong this week.
This is what I might be apologizing straight off the bat next week. It was actually a pie chart. I know it's not. But the one where it intersects, like, look, the people. Let's just how niche is this? how
Yeah.
niche is it? I think the piano is probably less niche than the typewriter. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's going to be the hardcore Lego ideas collectors, of course. Anyone who collects the idea stuff, people who collect the big models, you understand that sort of market, if you like. But I can't see again anyone just going, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to pick
Especially
that up.
not for I think is it 180 quid? Like,
yeah, well, it's 350 New Zealand dollars, so that sounds about right. Yeah, that's a pricey one, man.
That is
That is
pricey.
pricey.
Like, I know R2D. I think R2D2 is 180. Is that the same? Is he the same price
Yeah,
in New Zealand?
R2D2 is same price point. Yeah,
And I get like he's a pricey boy, but he's also Star Wars. He's also got a 50th plaque Lucasfilm. He's
you're paying for the
substantial
license.
and the license, and also it's Star Wars, guys. Like Star Wars sells. And especially original trilogy sells, which is why a lot of people get moan about there's too much original trilogy Star Wars Lego out there, but it's because it sells. So I just feel like with the typewriter, I'm not, like you say, the Venn diagram, it's going to be a lot of people that, like you say, the ideas and pro Lego, there's going to be potentially novelists on the other side, but then that intersecting, who else is going to really get it?
It's a sliver of an intersection, an intersection. I'm sure that's a very small pool of people that are going to.
I always judge sets based off of like other people that aren't necessarily as into Lego that I know. So, for instance, my mum and stepdad showed them yesterday, and they were just like, they didn't really care. Like you say, your son didn't even know what it was. So,
the other thing as well, like, with the idea sets, is they really set a benchmark a couple of years back with that Saturn V rocket. To me, the price point on that, the sheer size of the thing, the techniques, the amount of pieces, etc. That a lot of things have come out afterwards, and I go, for an idea set, that's fairly pricey for what it is. And I know that that the ones that get sort of chosen these days seem to be a little bit more obscure. I can appreciate why, and maybe Lego don't really care about
what has been out since that
a mass selling sort of set. It's okay. Well, it's fairly niche. We'll just get it out there. I don't know.
Yeah. What has been out since
the
the Saturn V? Because I wasn't around. I was in my dark age when the Saturn V retired, but I know then they've re-released it since. But there's always been the Ship in the Bottle.
That's right.
There's Barracuda Bay.
Yep.
And
there's a couple of small ones like the Flintstones. We've had the International Space Station. What else have we had?
Yeah, the Flintstones one was the one that kind of warmed shelves quite a lot. I think it's gone up quite a lot on the aftermarket now because they've retired.
Treehouse as well. The Treehouse.
I've got the Treehouse box downstairs. It was one I bought because of FOMO, and I don't really want to build it. Like, it just looks really boring. Yeah.
Really, I enjoyed that. Yeah. That is a fantastic looking set.
I think it's one that when I looked at it for putting it into my city, I thought, does it look right, if that makes sense? It looks like it's a bigger scale to a city. So then I was like, well, where am I going to put it? Because if it's not going in the city, where's it going to go, sort of thing. So I don't know. I've still got it. I got it I got it because I didn't want to worry about it retiring and then wanting it, and it's twice the price. So
and that was a $350 or $400 set here as well. So that would be a couple £100 there.
I think it was 200, or 180, something like that.
Oh, you'd be paying double that in a couple of years' time when it's retired.
I mean, talking of the latest idea sets, I do really like the Winnie the Pooh set. I think that was great.
Yes.
I know we didn't get all the figures, but I think that was quite a good, well-priced one as well. It wasn't too expensive. Oh, and there was the Sesame Street as well, wasn't there?
Of course, yes, the Sesame Street. See, and if you think back through all those sets, which was I mean, I know they appeal to a wide variety of people, don't get me wrong, but I think as far as value for money goes, I mean, Pirates of Barracuda Bay was a pretty special sort of nostalgic set. I'm only looking up because it's up here on the shelf above me. But that rocket to me is just an absolute benchmark on idea sets, and I can see why it was brought back.
Yeah, well, that one and the Ship in the Bottle was brought back. That one went up quite high as well. The Ship in the Bottle.
I don't get the whole Ship in the Bottle thing. I just didn't enjoy that build at all.
I don't think the build's very good, but I do think the set does look nice on display. It's something like I was saying, where like real life display stuff. I can see it with that one because I don't know. There's something about it because obviously a real Ship in a Bottle doesn't really do anything either. It's a display piece, so I do kind of see it for that one. But that's just, again, I think that's the thing, isn't it? They appeal to different people. So
And like we all say, let us know down below what you think. I mean, you don't have to agree with us, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I know some people really enjoy those idea sets, and I know someone in particular that piano is their favorite set, their all-time favorite set. And hey, whatever blows your hair back.
I think the thing is, I've been watching a lot of other like toy collecting channels, not Lego, recently, to kind of just broaden the mind of being a collector in general. Because a collector, if you guys don't know, guys, collector, it's a mental disorder. We're not normal. We're not wired right when you're collecting stuff.
So what did you collect before Lego?
I actually collect enamel pins. I've got quite a lot of those.
Enamel pins? Really?
I've got quite a lot of them.
Hang on a second.
I've got quite a lot of them.
Games Workshop or Warhammer.
Well, again, I used to collect Warhammer as well. I used to collect back in the day, but like before university times, I used to collect retro consoles and games.
I can get on board with that one. That's
I sold that all for beer money, which is a lot of money.
I can also get on board with. I probably did something similar with something I collected when I was young.
Going off a random thing, I had a cartridge sealed in box of Ninja Turtles in Time, which was very, very hard to get, and that I sold for like 200 quid back then.
Yeah, right.
And that was and I wish I'd never sold it. It was fantastic.
Speaking of Death Stars, actually, I sold because I used to collect sneakers before Lego.
Oh, you're one of those, are you?
Yeah, I was one of those guys. And hey, this
hype beast or whatever they call it.
Well, I wasn't one of those. I never attended any of those early morning.
Everyone always calls me a hype beast because I wear these tops, so apparently I'm a hype beast.
But I sold the entire collection in one hit. Someone bought the entire collection off me, and that was when I went out and spent a few $1,000s on Lego. But got my Death Star at that time, and a few other big sets, a few other white. So
anyway, we've gone off at a tangent. Anyway, I was looking at other collectors because I feel like with Lego, and I don't know if you're the same with this, but like I was saying to you before the video, before we started recording, that I find that my Lego just gets everywhere, and it's not really a collection; it's just a mishmash of sets just put on shelves. So I want to try and like look at how to actually display it and make it look good. And I know like yours behind you looks really good. I like how you've got all the different ones, the different levels. I think it looks great.
As you can see, we've leveled up since last week, because last week there was a city there, and the morning after the podcast, actually, we did last week, my little boy and myself, we just got up and we moved everything out. Obviously, my Star Destroyer is back in here as well.
So see the difference. Look at the helmets, guys. Look how beautiful his helmets are. Can you see where my helmets are in this room? You can see them. They're on display.
My helmet is beautiful.
Just shoved on the top of a shelf.
Yeah, but mine was like that, and of course it's taken a few lights and stuff, to make it look.
But you kind of like cram it all together because you go, well, that looks beautiful, but that's now the entire shelf. I can't put anything else there. So you like, just cram it together. That's fine. Right, I've got another shelf free now.
I do want to go down the route of having just plain white bookcases behind me, with adjustable shelves, and get one or two sets on either shelf type thing. But something nice and light that you can color with a couple of lights and just to look quite nice.
But I think this goes back to what I was saying with the idea stuff. Like if you're doing that, you obviously don't have as much space as you once had, because you can't shove 20 sets onto a shelf. Instead, you shove one set onto a shelf. And so I think that I want to start curating it a bit more. And that's what I was saying with the typewriter. I think it's fantastic, but I have to try and think of it fitting into my theme of collecting. So I just don't think it fits into my overall theme of collecting, if that makes sense. So it can't go on the list.
You look at all those lifestyle photos that Lego have. Okay, do you know the lifestyle pictures where they have?
Yeah, the one where they're looking at the set, but they've got no sets behind them.
Oh no, I know, I know. Or the one where it looks like they've like literally picked it up and just smashed it because it's in bits.
I love the bugle. If you ever see the bugle one, the guy's got the bugle and he's got this really cool like New York loft or whatever, really industrial, and he's like staring at it like this, like, and you're like, yeah, you've got no other Lego sets. You know that no one who buys that set.
I think it was the Batwing one, and they had it hanging on a wall, and it looked nice. Everything was super clean and crisp, and I was like, I don't know anyone that owns that Batwing and doesn't own any other, or doesn't have tons of other Lego sets, like fighting for space. You
The
know?
only one that was kind of realistic, more realistic, should I say, is actually the Ninjago Gardens. Because when they did the photos for that one this year, they actually showed it with docks and city. Because, you know, people are going to have those.
You
Like,
know why they did that, though? That was to make people go, dang, I missed that city, I missed that docks. Yeah.
and now it's like 1,500 quid. Yeah.
The price of it. Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone watches my channel, you might know this story. I'll say it really quickly, but I actually bought those sets as soon as Ninja Gardens was leaked, like a year before, and I paid 900 quid for both of them. So that's a lot of change. They're like 450 each ish, which obviously,
cheap.
Yeah, it was double the price they were. And then at the time, and I was thinking that was expensive because I wasn't buying that massive set. I mean, it's a lot of money, no matter how much you think about it. And I left them until Gardens came out, and then I built them like weeks leading up to Gardens. And as I was building them, people come into the streams going, "How did you manage to find this at that price?" They're now, and I went on eBay, and they tripled, if not quadrupled. They were then instead of like 800 for both of them, it was like 1,500.
Yeah, and just off the back of the release of that Gardens, and everyone going, they looks, and that was just a marketing, the way they looked on display, and I think it was like an orange background or something. It was
they had different colors each time, didn't they? Yeah, and then they had them all.
Really pop. I'll make you jealous. I got them both at 25% off from the toy store.
And that's the difference, isn't it? If you actually are savvy, you know what you're doing, you can wait for those deals. I didn't do it for Moss Eisley
I got them at the time when they came out. That's
what I mean. They weren't retired. That's what I mean. Like you knew when to get them. Because like Moss Eisley, I got that straight away day one, which I'm kind of glad because I got Yoda's lightsaber, which if you like that gift with purchase, fine. I absolutely love it. Some people hate it. But anyway, that has gone down to like 20% quite recently afterwards. It wasn't, at John Lewis and stuff, it was quite easy to obtain. I think even now you can get 20% off. So same with that Cloud City that I keep talking about every week. Now it's like double the price, but it was on quite a lot of decent offers when it was out.
Yeah, it was readily available here for 20% off.
Yeah.
Pretty much from the day it was released. I think they knew that it wasn't going to sell. And actually, I was talking to one of the guys who runs Toy Store over here when we're talking about Moss Eisley coming out. He was like, "Oh, I hope it's not that Cloud City. I really hope it's not like that, because that was an awful seller, that one." And look at it now. People are scrambling around. People will be absolutely chuffed if they find it at retail price at the moment.
Oh, 100%. Over here, it's like 400 or 500 quid to get it, and that's through eBay, where you're not too sure on the condition of it, or it's always a gamble when you're buying from like people, sellers, more than retail stores. But yeah, I think it's gone mad at the moment. Anyway, I was actually looking at a couple of Brick Vault videos, because that's how I really get into it. I love Brick Vaults, like all the Jedi's video or all the Tatooine set video, and I love watching them. And it's really funny. They did one which was like all of the Star Wars minifigures, and it was about 4 years ago. And they did every single one really quick. And it flashes up, he says, if they're worth a bit more money. And it was going through, and it was like Jedi Bob, and it flashed up like $20. And I'm just laughing, going, he ain't $20 now, mate.
No, what's he worth now? I've got Jedi Bob. What's he worth now?
Like about 150 quid over here.
Is that right? I got him at a bulk lot.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Some of these characters are the ones you can like kind of like get and go, I don't even know who that is, throw it in a bucket, but he's actually quite decent. I think the Leia's hairpiece people often find in bulk lots. So I don't know if you know, there's a Leia with a smooth
yes. That was from the original Falcon, actually.
Yeah. She's worth about 150 quid with that hairpiece. But people don't realize that hairpiece is special, so they're just like. I
managed to get a bulk lot off some family that was looking at getting rid of some Lego. Not so long. Well, this was a couple of years ago now, and it was 22 kgs. It was filthy. It had been sitting in a garage for years. It was just covered in crap, absolute crap. And I started going through it, and I was like, "Oh, there's a few Star Wars things in here." Right, I'm telling you, there was pretty much nearly every Star Wars set from. Was it 99 to 2000? All the first X-Wing, first Falcon, first gunship, first Slave One, all those things. It was
So out of those older ones, the expensive figures that I'm still hunting for is the Watto's Junkyard, because that one is really pricey. Because you've got the original Watto that looks like garbage, but he's awesome. So I want to get him.
The original one, yes, the original. Have you got the newer one?
Yeah, I've got the newer Watto. Yeah, just not the older one.
Mine's got a misprint. Mine's missing an eye.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, seriously, it's just clean gone, no eye. And I think
That
it's
might be
2
worth a
colors on
bit.
the other one. Yeah, I might check that out, mate.
Yeah.
Might retire really.
But yeah, the other one was you were on Slave One is Django Fett's Slave One. That Django Fett from that is worth quite a lot of money because he's actually like pretty much, I think it's either a retired color or it was a very rare color at the time, but it's definitely retired now. But he's like got purple arms and stuff. Which,
purple arms, yeah.
We don't. Yeah, we don't get that anymore. He's worth quite a lot of money because they're all damaged if you try and find a Django now. They're always like cracked back or like cracked arm. Or
Interesting.
Something. So yeah,
interesting. Huh.
But yeah, talking of the minifigures, let's talk about these Star Wars ones that you've seen this week. Then the
new ones, yes.
Yeah,
we've got the armorer from the Forge set, which has come out. I don't know. Have you got it up in front of you?
No, I already know. I know what it looks like. The figures. Yeah.
Well, first of all, we'll talk about Paz Vizsla. I think Paz Vizsla looks great. I like, they've added that little extra bit of armor on the shoulders to give him that chunkier look.
They basically made him look like Wrecker, haven't they? They've used the same piece, I think, as Wrecker's.
I think it is. Yeah. And that helmet as well. It's given enough of a different design, and I'm sure it's not a different mold. I'm positive it's not a different mold. But the way they've sort of done the design at the top makes the helmet look like a different shape.
Yeah, I like that. It makes it look almost like an Iron Man one. It almost looks like you could lift it up, but you can't. But it kind of just has that look to it. Like that, I think looks.
It looks like a sort of an old school sort of army sort of type helmet.
Like military World War.
Wear. Yeah. I think it looks good. I think he's a nice looking minifig. The printing on the legs as well. I think he's nice.
He looks like he's got some sort of brick built backpack as well, which will make him look a bit heftier as well when you physically get the figure. So. Yeah. And that's one thing that I really don't like about the Bad Batch figures is they don't have the backpacks on. Like,
really? None of them.
They wear the backpacks. Yeah, in the series, they all have these quite clunky backpacks that look pretty cool. None of them have backpacks. It's something you can easily fix, but they don't have backpacks.
I guess to fit them all in the shuttle as well, it was probably a pain for them all to have backpacks. I can appreciate why they've done that.
Like the Ghostbusters trying to get them in. Like,
oh yeah. Those were cool little builds though. The proton packs, whatever you call them on the Ghostbusters. That's another thing I probably end up having to clarify. Get the name or something like that wrong. But yeah, the other fig was the armor, and of course the most talked about thing was the helmet and how the helmet was not correct. And
I saw that people were talking about it. God, the armor of Saxon, they were calling it because obviously it's the same.
What do you think though? I mean, look, here's my thing. I know exactly why they've used the same one. Of course they've used the same mold. They're not going to make a new mold for a cheap set. It's what they're going to do. They're going to use the same mold.
I personally don't mind the helmet at all because if you actually look at it's not really either character's helmet, if that makes sense.
It's somewhere in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle, which is what I kind of assumed when we saw it. And I think Ryan knew that as well when he knew that was going to happen. I think to me, the armorer, what's missing from it, to me is like she has like this kind of Game of Thrones kind of furry bit on her, and I know they couldn't do that because of the helmet, but it would have been cool if they could have somehow implemented that. So like because we've got that piece, we actually have that piece. They use it as bird nests and like the bookshop.
They use it as bird nests, and the Joker I think had it.
I think they could have somehow if they could have even done that and molded those two together or something, because it wouldn't have been a custom mold. It could have just been using. I don't know how they make. I just think. She's missing something that even if it was just a cape, maybe even if they just put a little like a mini cape on her just to give us something. And I think that's
someone
what's missing.
Put a picture up of one of the shoulder pieces from some set that sort of had little tiny spikes on it. And that would have even been better, just to give a bit of texture across the shoulders. I
just think that's what it is because she looks really weak because she's quite a big beastie character, and she just looks a bit weak for a minifigure. But like I say, I think she's going to be super rare. I think this is going to be the only time you're going to get her in a set because she's not in Mandalorian anymore.
Do you think as well? Paz Vizsla, I think probably the only time we're going to get him to.
It's whether he comes in Series 3 or something. Does he die in Series 1?
No.
Spoilers here.
He gets away at the end, doesn't he? Do the
exactly.
The
so I
end,
think I reckon he may be something we see later on. Because don't forget, next season is going to be probably like a Mandalore battle again because we've seen like Bo-Katan wanting the Darksaber and that kind of stuff. So you might get some of these Mandalorians back, and I reckon he may be on the side of Mando. So I reckon we may get him in other sets. That's
Okay,
just
cool.
that's just
Very cool.
speculation. Also, we've
Now,
had
the
an
other
entire wave
interesting
of Mando this year as well. So, are they going to release any more Mando sets?
that is true. Yeah, we might end up having a couple of years off. We might end up having a couple of years
We're even getting an
waiting for
advent
the next one.
calendar. We're getting an advent calendar for Mandalorian, even. So, like, yeah.
That's interesting. Now, what do you think? Did you notice the other thing about that picture of those minifigs, apart from obviously the Mando fig? But did you see the jetpack? Did you take note of that?
Yeah, so this is what I was actually going to say to you. I'm wondering whether this Mandalorian, the Mando character, is going to be counted as another Star Wars number wearing the backpack. Because they
That
do often
backpack looks
do
like
that
it
for
might be
me.
lacquered as well. That might
Yeah.
have that same
So,
lacquer, which
so
means it'll look nice. It'll look cool.
yeah. So I think that this one might be because sometimes they do this with the Star Wars figures. It's considered a separate minifigure because it's got something that the other ones don't have. So
A different accessory.
yeah. So that to me is nice because then it's kind of a minifig to put on the shelf. So
You mean it's nice because it gives you an excuse to buy another Lego set.
well,
I have
I'm
to have it.
100%.
Well, I've got to have it.
I'm 100% getting it anyway, just for those other two minifigures. Because 30 quid for
very
us,
cool.
this is quite a cheap set. So,
Yeah.
and this is where it's making that Slave One to me just look less and less desirable. The Boba Fett's fantastic,
for one
yeah,
minifig. Yeah, for one minifig.
it's literally one fig for that set's almost twice the price of this set, and you're getting 3 figs here. So, yeah,
But
it also makes
sorry, Karen.
I was just getting it also makes the Ahsoka and Maul set look a little bit lackluster as well, really, because I suppose it is £10 more than that set. Actually, depends what the build looks like. We don't know what the build looks like, do we? So depends if the build looks good or not.
Yeah. But as we were sort of talking about, and we sort of hinted towards last week, talking about some of these minifigs going up in price. I mean, like we say, I think a few of these minifigs that we're probably not going to see again. I think we'll see Boba Fett come out in a few sets of the Book of Boba. If the sets that come out, based off that whatever, next year or whenever. So we'll probably see more of that particular Boba Fett. So again, that makes it less appealing, knowing that there's probably going to be more sets in the future based on that.
It's probably the Fennec as well, because obviously she's in Book of Boba as well. So I think she'll be in a couple of sets as well. Because I wonder if they'll do because we've had the Mandalorian throne this time. I wonder if they'll do like Jabba's throne with those 2 figures potentially, or Bib Fortuna as well, maybe. Like the ending to the Mandalorian where you saw him like shoot Bib Fortuna and take the throne. That would be an awesome looking set with just him sitting on the throne.
This is our first Moff Gideon as well coming in that cruiser, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that may be our one and only as well. I mean, are we going to see much of him going forward? So
yeah.
These figures are going to. I mean, this is the thing about Lego minifigs at the moment. They are skyrocketing and stupid, to stupid numbers, absolute stupid numbers.
Yeah.
Have you been? You've been keeping tabs on these. So give me some of the pricey ones.
So, well, looking back at these older videos, which was quite funny. So, for instance, like I saw Darth Malgus and Darth Revan. Apparently, they were just $50, which was expensive then. They are now well over 100 if you want a new version of those. Most of Jabba's palace. So this is what's really interesting, because some figures you think, that he was in an expensive set, so they're going to be expensive, such as the Star Destroyer UCS figures. They're about 45 quid each, but the set's 650 quid, so you get that. But like all of Jabba's palace, for like even the little what's he called, Salacious Crumb, who's the little monkey lizard. He is worth about 30 quid on his own. Just that little,
just for a tiny little piece of plastic.
Yeah.
But as a collector, and this is what I was going to talk about as well. About collecting stuff, that the smallest, tiniest little things, can end up being the most valuable. The things that get lost, the things that get engulfed into.
Well, like for instance, that Darth Malgus minifig, he's worth quite a lot of money. However, that set was quite cheap when it was out, and that was always on discount as well, which was like a TIE fighter thing from the Old Republic game. And I picked it up because I was playing the game at the time.
Infiltrator, I think it's called.
Yeah, I've got the ship somewhere in a box, I think, like just taken apart.
I've got it too.
But yeah, I got it because I was playing the game. I was actually a Jedi, a Sith at the time. So I was at the Sith Marauder or something, I think it was. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'll get that. It's cool on my desk with my RGB gaming PC or whatever. And now he's worth more than the set easily. Which is...
And Darth Malgus, they're not going to remake him anytime soon.
Or
You know,
Revan.
where's he going to show up again? You know, like
Yeah,
where's he going to show
Black
up?
Series have just re-released Revan as like a collector's thing. I don't collect them, but I know of the stuff, and they're releasing him. But I don't think Lego ever do that. They don't like re-release stuff or go into Legends or anything. So
No, no, and they've got such a catalog with Disney to go on that, you know, it's
well, this is the thing. They don't tend to make minifigures as figures to buy. Unlike like Pop or Black Series or stuff, they make those figures so they can make different ones each year. With Lego, they make more sets, and they don't make hundreds of sets each year. So like say they have to decide which ones they put into which sets to make them as much money as possible, really. So they have to like wait, and that's why this helmet debate comes in, doesn't it? Really, of like, can you just repaint a helmet because it's easier for them to get that out there instead of redesigning it, getting a new mold for it, and all that kind of stuff. So.
and I can completely understand those decisions. I mean, you can't have, you know, new molds for absolutely anything. I mean, the thing is that you think about it, the Mandalorian Forge little play set with 3 minifigs. Apart from the collectors, is it going to be a huge seller?
So to me,
it's not something. It's not the Clone. It's not like the Mandalorian Throne, where you know all the kids have seen it watching Clone Wars and all that sort of stuff. You know, the Mandalorian, the Forge is a bit of a. I mean, it's a key part of the story, and it's a key part of the key scene. They come back to a few times, but I can't see it being popular. Apart from
what I do find weird, I completely agree with you on that. I completely agree with like what you're saying. Like they're going to reuse figures. I have found this since coming out of Dark Ages and collecting again. I don't know what it was about 2013. I think it's 2013. Again, this is kind of a year that's wrong. But to me, those sets that came out, they did do that. And I don't understand why they did that for those sets. And they haven't done anything for them. So what I mean by it is like, for instance, Jabba's Palace. They have in that set like about 7 figures that are all exclusive to that set that do all have custom molds. So you have Bosch that they never ever did again. You got the Twi'lek. You've got Jabba, who's only in 2 sets. You've got Bib Fortuna. You've got the Gamorrean guards.
You got Slave Leia with that one? Slave
She's
Leia?
Not in that set.
No, she comes with a sail barge. She comes with a sail barge.
I'm just trying to think of the others. Yeah, they've got the Gamorrean guards. I think that might be it. And then the sail barge came out at the same kind of time, and that again had, it had 3. It had the goat. I always forget the name. The goat with 3 eyes, alien.
Yes.
It's got another pirate one that you never get again, and it's got the greatest elephant of all time, the blue elephant of all time. So and it's got Slave Leia, and
you're never ever going to see a Slave Leia ever again.
Probably not. No,
you're never. It's the word slave these days just can't be used.
You have to call her Prisoner Leia now.
Prisoner, no, but even then, the whole scantily clad sort of look and being held captive and all that sort of stuff. It just won't happen. It won't happen.
No,
I mean,
I think that's why
coupled with the fact.
Sorry, I
was going to say, coupled with the fact that I don't think they're ever going to make a Jabba's Palace that looks like Jabba's Palace ever again. And if anyone doesn't know, that's because of the. There's a building in Turkey and in Istanbul, if I'm not wrong, called the Sogia. Is it the Haji?
I just know that it was.
I can't remember the name.
I mean, you can see it here. You can see what you can see what Richard's trying to get at. The fact that how it looks like. It looks like
a mosque. That's actually it's only recently been turned back into a mosque as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow!
I will clarify this at the beginning of next week's podcast. But yeah, and then there was a lot of people got up in arms about it, and I think Lego basically vowed never to make it again.
Yeah, I think if they make Jabba's Palace again, I think what they'll do, which I'm really crossing my fingers, and it'll probably next year if they do it, will be like a Mos Eisley Jabba's Palace master build series,
like a scene from inside with rooms and things like that.
So just like Cloud City, you don't really see the outside of the set; you just see kind of the shape of it, and I think that would be really cool. And I think it'd be a way to get the Rancor and Jabba again. Again, Rancor, another one that came out that same year. Like he's ridiculous now to buy. But yeah, anyway.
Really?
So yeah, it's just crazy how I think this year they're doing that with these Star Wars figures, where we're getting a lot more variety now towards the end of the year, but just no custom molds like they were doing back in the day.
But I think variety as well, though. You think about how many different or new Star Wars minifigs that we've received, let's say in the last calendar year. If we're going back to Mos Eisley, or I think that we coming, and I'm taking into consideration the ones that are due to come out as well. The variety of figures, for them to come around to sort of make any of those figs again. I mean, we're not talking about your normal Luke Skywalkers, Leia's, Chewies, and all those ones. We're talking about.
I'm really missing Farm Boy Luke this series. I can't believe they haven't put one in there.
But we're talking about some really obscure characters. Like the Bad Batch. Are they going to make them? What are they going to do with the Bad Batch going forward? If they make something, you're probably not going to get all of the figures in another set. It'll probably be bits and pieces for a scene or something like that. Same with Mandalorian. You're getting very specific scenes with specific characters. That I think these are figures that are, again, in the future, probably going to end up costing an arm and a leg. So
I also think
I'm no financial advisor. I am absolutely no financial advisor, and I just want to get that out there right now. But get your hands on them now.
I did the same thing, actually. I took a massive, not gamble, but I wanted to get every single Knight of Ren, because I do feel at some point they will become bigger in the Star Wars universe. I mean, they're just poses in Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, but I think that they will do something with them. They will bring them into this wider universe.
Oh, there might be a bit of a backstory somewhere, because they had quite a serious backstory. They were meant to be some seriously badass characters.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to add as well that anyone who follows my reviews, I was right that Knights of Ren transport ship, whatever it is now in the sales bin. You can get it for 50% off here in New Zealand. It is the only set left of that wave, and there is tons of them. So I might pick a few up just for the parts. But yeah.
I bought that at full price.
I said it. This thing is not going to sell. This thing is not going to sell. It's going to end up in the sale bin later. And here we are. I got an email the other day.
Yeah, I bought that one at full price here.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you know that it was half a ship? Did you know that it was a facade of a ship? Like literally a facade of a ship?
I knew. To me, I just saw those 2 Knights of Ren in there, and I was like, yeah, need it. Okay. So I just wanted to complete my collection. But he is very different. I haven't seen it here at all. So I think that we probably didn't buy as many of them either. So
nothing disappointed me more though than that ship, because when I saw that on screen, I liked the look of it. I thought that's a mean, baddie looking ship. And then we got what looks like a speeder. You can't fit into them in it. It looks like a land speeder. It honestly just looks like a land speeder.
Maybe they just decided to redesign Luke's land speeder because we need enough of those. We don't have any more, coming soon.
That's true.
But yeah, so is there anything we can talk about non-Star Wars? Probably not.
No,
we just love Star Wars. No, we can't. No, that's fine. We can keep it in. They can see how unorganized it is.
I must admit that I was like, oh sheesh, it's 6:20. I better get ready for this. I better start preparing. Get the lights on, turn the microphone on.
So you were on about earlier about your AT-AT fascination. I'm guessing that's one that you're definitely going to be getting if that is a confirmed set as well later this year.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying to you earlier as well, like I've got the Star Destroyer there. I've kind of got space now behind me. I'm doing this with my hands trying to show where, but it's not really working. For the Falcon and that UCS AT-AT. I mean, those are must buys for the AT-AT. Sorry, is a must buy for me.
Yeah, I think what is really weird with those two sets, and we don't know the AT-AT is not confirmed or anything, but to me, I can't see what figures they're really going to do for that set that's going to make that set worth buying for the figures. And it's the same with the Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon itself didn't have any decent figures in it. There was Han and Leia with the oxygen masks on, but they're not even that expensive to buy on BrickLink.
Oh, really?
But the set itself just looks fantastic. You buy that for the set. Same with the AT-AT. You buy it because you want the most accurate AT-AT you can get.
Oh, the Star Destroyer. If it came with no minifigs, I wouldn't have been bothered. I really wouldn't have been bothered. I would have. It's all about that.
I actually think the figures in that are a bit weird because they're just like they don't look. Because you just click them like next to it. That set, it doesn't need them. Like it really doesn't need the figures.
It was definitely just a bonus add-on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And 2 of them as well. It just seems odd.
I think the worst one for figures for the UCS sets recently has been that A-Wing. Because that A-Wing pilot literally looks like the one from 2014 anyway. Like, he just looks the exact same. Yeah, I've got one. It's literally a lighter green version of him. So he's in a dark green. This guy's in, like, green. That's literally the only
Again, I
difference.
mean, if it was just the A-wing,
Mm.
I wouldn't have. Honestly, I wouldn't have been bothered by the
I
minifigs.
haven't
But
bought that set. I haven't bought that set.
haven't you? Well, it's an all right build. It's an all right build. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it.
don't particularly like out of scale.
I've
but
never been a fan of the A-wing. I must admit, I never liked them in the movies. Well, I didn't care
right.
for them in the movies. No, but the
Yeah.
set's okay.
I don't like the sets that are a bit bigger than figures. I just don't see the personally, just a personal thing for me for collecting. I always love.
So you don't like
you
those
could
big
fit.
UCS ones, then? You don't like those bigger UCS sets?
No,
No, see, I like them. I do like them.
The biggest fascination for me with the Millennium Falcon was the fact that the figures fit in it, and it's a Millennium Falcon, so it feels more like it's mini. It's not minifigure scale. You're never gonna get that because the minifigures are about 5 times wider than a normal human being. But like, it's just that. I don't know. There's just something. It's just something about it that I just think is cool. I mean, I'm hoping with the AT-AT that you can fit them in the head or something. But I know the AT-AT is massive, so.
Well, the AT-AT potentially could be minifig scale. Then I guess
it won't be minifig scale. It'll be too big.
No?
It'll be too
big. Too big, you think?
No, as in the real thing.
Yeah. No,
it's way too big to be minifig scale. Like,
okay.
But I think they'd be more accurate because obviously they stick minifigs in the smaller ones. So I'm wondering if they will like still make it where you could put the figures in it, sort of thing. But like the gunship's supposed to be bigger than minifig scale. So, but I might get that.
I don't mind these. I think they look good on display. So I don't. Again,
well, that's what they're for. I think I
told you last time. I think I told you last time that where I file all my minifigs is just literally. I moved them from what was a bucket into a sort of tray now that's about that wide and about that deep.
So what you're doing is you're filling the bucket with all these.
Shuffle through. Easier to shuffle through.
You're literally, I love these figures from this new wave. In the bin they go.
In the bin, yeah.
That's lovely printing.
It's not all that bad. They do get bagged. They get bagged per set, so the minifigs get lumped together. So I can find a bag of minifigs if I need to sell the set. That's what it is.
To be honest, the figures, the minifigs take up a lot of space. Like they really do. Especially if you want to display them nicely. They take up a lot of space on the shelf because you have to give them a bit of breathing room. So they take up a lot of space. And also they're a fortune. So you're not getting your best bang for your buck.
No. But the thing is, I say that I don't collect minifigs, but I do find it hard to get rid of them. Like there's not like something I just go, I'll sell those off because someone needs them or something. I'm sending one over to you, but that was a bonus minifig to me. It's not something that that goes with a set as such. All my sets are complete with minifigs. But something I have started doing just on a whim. I've got a few people out there that sort of every now and again when they get bulk lots, they get those collectible, the collectible CMFs. They just check with me if I've got it, and if I haven't got it, they'll sell it.
Oh, wicked!
So I've got a few there now. I've got a few minifigs.
I'm 3 series off having all of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So I've got series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm missing 9 and 10. It's either 9 and 10 or 10 and 11, and then the Great British Olympic team. Then I have them all included. I've got the German football team.
Have you got the football team? Have you?
Yeah, I've got all of them now up until the Looney Tunes. I even have the video ones just because I wasn't sure if they were considered a they're not, but I got them.
What do you make of the new video minifigs? Because a lot of them are just recolors of the, well, sort of, not I'm not going to say.
I know people really like the video stuff, and I get it. There's like lots of color and colorful. I know we're doing that, especially with the Pride stuff this month, which is absolutely awesome. And I really like the fact that the video stuff appeals to different people as well. I think that's awesome that more people are getting involved. To me, I just feel like they're overpriced, and I think my biggest issue with video is that the theme just doesn't seem like it's just mashed together, and it doesn't form anything that makes. It doesn't need to make sense, but it just doesn't. You can easily miss one of those figures, and no one even knows that it's missing. If you get what I mean, like it's just a bit mashed together. Let's put some trans colors on them, like trans blue head or something, and then sell it again as a separate figure. Like you're saying, I think it's like a bear that's literally the same figure just with a different color, and it just to me it just seems a bit because they're really expensive. Like they're really pricey. The CMFs were like £4 each, and
do you think this is what happens, and this happens with Lego sets, of course, as well, is that something is not popular at the time, it gets brought down to next to nothing as far as the price goes, to buy them. You can get the Series 1 video stuff for next to nothing. People go, oh, I don't want them. I don't want them. The next thing you know, they just all get sold and they're gone. And then later on, people go, well, actually.
Well, like Monster Fighters.
Well, like Monster Fighters. I know that this is probably a rehashed conversation, which has been done many, many times, but Hidden Side, Hidden Side figures, some of those figures are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to start looking for those, but video figures, I've got a feeling that this is going to come and go pretty quick. We're going to see a couple of waves like we did with Hidden Side. It's going to disappear and then give it a couple of years, and those video figures being so bright, being so colorful, having some great prints on them, I think they're going to go up in value big time. They've got some some nice custom molds as well.
I think what you're saying as well, the price thing of like they came up too expensive and now they're like in the bargain bin. And I think to a lot of people, me included, there's a mental thing there of like going, oh, these obviously aren't worth it. So because they're on sale and they didn't give them a chance to stay at that ridiculously high price, you just kind of feel like, oh, they're not worth it. I'm not going to bother. Obviously, no one likes them either. I'm in agreement. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of that kind of, because there's one that I really do fancy from the new wave, which is actually there's like a devil goat thing that's in the new boxes.
The dragon, the dragon. Yeah, it's sort of a red dragon sort of thing.
Yeah, he looks awesome. And I know there's there's a different reprint of him as well, a different color of him. But he's wicked. And I'm just like, oh, I want that one, but I just don't.
Yeah, but then again with the video thing, it's like I've got them.
It's another thing to collect.
It's another thing to collect, and it's not a cheap thing, I mean, I'm not really too worried about the sets, the stages and all that sort of things, but I quite like that boombox stage, I must admit. And if I'm going to do like a thing in the city that's a concert or something, I'd probably use that, don't get me wrong. But now that I've got the complete first wave of minifigs, I'm like, well, I kind of probably should get the second wave.
This is the problem. I did this with Mario. Don't do it. Like, I bought the first wave of Mario, loved it. Like, because I love Nintendo. I grew up with Nintendo. Like I said, I collected retro consoles back in the day. But they just keep mashing them out now, and it's literally just like more buildable figures that are really hard to display anyway. The sets don't display well either, and you just feel like you've got to keep buying them because you're in too deep sort of thing. But with video, I've got
draw that line. Eh?
Yeah, I've got the entire first wave of video, and I literally opened them all the boxes, and then I was like, what am I going to do with these like the jukebox things that they're in, the little beat boxes, because they're just a custom mold. They don't work. They don't fit in the system. And I don't display them like that because I've displayed them in the cabinet like a CMF series. So I've got all the ones that come in the bags and then the 4 of the jukeboxes. And so, yeah. And then I'm just like, well, now it's a load of waste because they wouldn't rubbish. And I put them in the cabinet and that was it. I played the app like once, thought that was really, really weak.
Oh, the app was tedious.
Tedious. Yeah, I just kind of like they went into the collecting cabinet, and that was pretty much it. And
but now, do you care for having them?
No, that's what I mean.
But then again, you've just admitted to me how deep you are in with minifigs. You are seriously, you're chin deep in that minifig.
Well, this is why I got them, because I mean I'll probably end up getting wave 2 of the actual collector ones when they come out, the boxes. I'll probably just buy a wave online or something, just because if people consider them CMF, I want to have all the CMFs. So, they are, would you say they were CMF? That they kind of are.
I think they're going to be, look, they're a collectible bunch of minifigs. There's between 12 and 20 of them or 12 and 18 of them per series. Yeah. They are a collectible CMF. End of. You might have argued at the time with the football team, the German football team or whatever it was. Are these collectible CMFs? They've definitely been encompassed into that.
Yeah.
That general sort of side of the collecting, now. But so
it is weird because like Looney Tunes is like, day one Looney Tunes, love it, loved getting them, loved getting them. They're in the cabinet. I go and look at them all the time. I think they're wicked. But then next to it's like the video ones, like whatever. Don't really have any.
Well, that's because it's their own IP, isn't it? And it's like, well, there's no sort of nostalgic connection to it, or.
But I think also people have started saying that for the CMFs anyway. Like we looked at the last one, the Series 21. There were some really good figures there. But I think a lot of people do look at them and go, like we've got another surfer, but this time she's got a dolphin, and she's a dolphin. How many surfers have we had in CMF series? About like 9 of them. They keep regurgitating the same figures. So
I do get them. I get the minifigs. I just get a set. over here, a few of us will go in and get a box or something like
Yeah.
that, and we'll just split them out. And it's the easiest and cheapest way to do it. You're pretty much guaranteed you're not going to get too many double up or any double ups for that matter. So it's easy. It's an easy thing, and it's an easy thing to sell later on as well. That if I don't want them, people will buy them 2 or 3 years down the line because there's always going to be someone coming in trying to get the
like
back collection, and they'll be gone. Yeah, well, like you, yeah. Exactly, suckers like you. But I don't call them suckers. I call them customers. But you know what I mean. But so they're sort of a look. It's not. I don't think you're ever going to lose money on buying the CMF line.
Yeah,
the actual official CMF line. You might have to hold on to them for a couple of years, but sure enough, there'll be one that's harder to get than all the others, or you could put them up and sell them all off at a 20% profit, in a couple of years' time, and probably quite easily get it. The video ones might be a little harder with, I think maybe the bandmates, you might be able to do the same sort of thing. But those video boxes, those the beat boxes, whatever you want to call them, you might get the value of the minifigure out of them, but the casing that you're paying for is worth nothing.
Well, this is what I think is really weird because they are custom molds, and I just feel like there's a bit of a. I think it would have been cool if they were more brick
built. There's a couple of nice mocks up there that have used them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that drop ship that was used as a canopy, and look, it looks cool, but it's limiting. It's limited.
Yeah.
It's not.
So you're on about the boxes. I don't know if did you get the Looney Tunes one in a box that you shared out or not?
No, I haven't got that yet. We will get them, but I haven't bothered yet.
Yeah, because we had an issue with that one because we do the same with my members. We get it. And literally all our boxes, there was only one Porky Pig in 3 boxes.
Really?
So I had to go to the Lego store, and in the UK they'll give you a minifigure if you ask for it, like which one. So I went in and I was like, can I have 10 Porky Pigs, please? And they looked at me like, no, you can't have that many. Buy a box sort of thing. So I said to them, I was like, no, and I showed them the disc. I was like, no, I actually have a group of people. It's like almost like a mini lug. We're not a lug, obviously, but like a mini group of people that buy together. My friend forked out 3 boxes with no Porky Pigs in, and the manager was like, "Okay, yeah, we'll give them to you, because we're still buying them."
I've heard about the whole Porky Pig thing. Actually,
yeah.
You're not the first person to say it.
Yeah, but we've actually had to spend more because obviously that's still £3.50s, 35 quid extra or whatever because we need to buy because we've just got repeats that we don't want. I think a lot of them were the Petunia pig as well, which no one wanted.
Yeah,
so
no one knows who she is.
No, well, I think it's because she's in Space Jam too. I'm guessing. So I think.
No, I can appreciate that, but everyone, pretty much everyone's gone. Okay.
Not the nostalgia of like Tweety or Wile E. Coyote
Sylvester,
or something. Yeah. But
I do need to get those ones. I'm really into. I'm into. I like the Looney Tunes stuff.
I think the Looney Tunes one is the biggest problem that we've had for only having 12 figures, because I think we could have easily got another 6. That would have been great.
Who was it? Someone may have actually been
6'4",
like Ryan or something like that. With that Series 21. Is it the Series 21 that came with a little dog minifig?
Yeah, the pug. The pug.
The pug. Yeah.
The costume guy.
And so people were getting tons of that one in the boxes as well. We didn't. We ours was split nice and evenly. 3 sets in the box.
I think it's like the first batch, because I know with the Looney Tunes they sent the boxes to LAN to review them, like an entire box, which makes no sense anyway. And they weren't even like, a lot of them didn't have any Wile E. Coyotes in their one.
Is that right?
Yeah, even when they were reviewing the things, they couldn't review the Wile E. Coyote because they didn't even have one in an entire box.
Well,
so
no, that's if we're talking quality control, I mean, not changing the mold for a helmet is one thing I can understand, but putting 8 of one minifig in a box and not some of another, when people are going to buy them like that, they should be evenly spread. And look, hey, I understand mistakes can get made, but that's a quality control process that should be well and truly taken care of in a company like that. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I mean, yeah, what I was saying with the 4 extra Looney Tunes, I think could have been really, really nice, because I do think there's some that have been missed out that could have been really good. There's it's called Salacious Sam. I can't remember the Wiley Sam, whatever he's called. I can't remember the guy with the
I know what you mean. Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite Sam.
No.
Yosemite Sam. That's right.
Elmer Fudd.
Yeah,
There's
Foghorn Leghorn would have been great, which is the big
Foghorn
chicken.
Leghorn. But do you think, and this is worth of a discussion. Let me know what you guys think as well in the comments. Have they been left out for genuine reasons? Like, let's be honest, Foghorn Leghorn was a bit of a misogynist, wasn't he? You know, some of the stuff.
So is Bugs Bunny, though, really.
Yeah, true. That's very true, very true. But of course, Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam had they were gun-toting, animals. They were wild characters, pretty much.
Yeah. And I think the granny would have been cool as well. The one that is Tweety's owner. She would have been cool. Yes. I think it could be to that. I also do think that it could be partially to do with the fact that they are human characters. If that makes sense. So obviously excluding Foghorn Leghorn, but I do feel like a lot of the ones they missed out were actually the kind of like humanized Looney Tunes, which may have looked weird with how they were making them look, if that makes any sense. So I wonder if, because like the granny, Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd, they're all like human variants of the Looney Tunes.
Here's something. So I remember seeing this. I'm just looking up an article in The Guardian, and it's basically saying Bugs Bunny's enemies, Fudd and Yosemite Sam, have been stripped of their weapons in the relaunched Looney Tunes cartoon series. So they've actually taken the guns off those guys. So I wonder if, and this was in, the article came out in June 2020. So we're talking a year ago. So when were the Looney Tunes minifigs being developed, and was it around this time they were changing, going through a change with these characters? I think that has something to do with it as to why.
I think one thing they could have got away with, but I'm glad they didn't, is they could have made it like a German football team where they all had the basketball outfits on.
Yeah, nah.
But
I wouldn't.
I think that would have been one way to get
with that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that, because there's only Lola Bunny that has that on, because she's obviously from the Space Jam. Which is why I was wondering with Junior Pig, but I'm guessing she might not be in the team or something in Space Jam 2. True. So I don't know. But yeah, anyway.
That's interesting. But basically, they've said, we're not doing guns, said the producer of the new series. Which, hey, in this day and age, I understand.
It is a weird one, though, because you talk about lack of guns, but then Star Wars is massive, and they do have guns. It is a war thing.
But it's Star Wars. Yeah, but then again, that comes down to who is pushing the license.
Yeah,
as a Warner Brothers that is saying, hey,
well,
we don't care.
I think Star Wars also joined. It's more of a line of being for everybody as well. Like Star Wars does have a very, very, very big adult fan base. And they've shown that with Mandalorian. Mandalorian's way more adult than any. It's not aimed at kids or other than Baby Yoda or Grogu or whatever you want to call him. And I think they've proven that kids still like it anyway. Like they like it because their parents like it, or because the older kids like it. So
you know why they put Grogu in there? They put Grogu in purely so that your significant other will spend time watching The Mandalorian with you if they're not such a big.
They've done it the whole. They've done it the whole time.
Happens.
They did it with Ewoks. Ewoks. They tried to do it with Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be the cutesy character that just did not work.
It didn't work at all.
No, they did it with Porgs, and then they're doing it with
that didn't work on me either.
So.
I know it worked on you, but it didn't work on me. The Porg.
Derek, close your ears, Derek.
And that is the end of some Assembly Required podcast. Cheers for 2 episodes, guys. Catch you on the flip side.
No, I think Porgs are funny. I mean, like Porgs to me is just like they're so dumb that it's kind of like. To me, I did it as a meme, as like the only good thing to come out of The Last Jedi was Porgs, and that was to show how bad the film was.
But the whole reason that they were put in there to basically, as cover-ups for the puffins that were on that island or whatever
CGI,
it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but, it's like sticking a massive Band-Aid over a problem, isn't it, All right, we have to develop these characters now. We have to develop this, And,
do you reckon that's what Ewoks were as well? There are a load of small Bigfoots running around in the filming studio. Right?
Man, you know what? We watched the other day, because it's come up on, I don't know if it's come up on your Disney Plus over there, but those old
Ewok Adventures.
The Caravan of Courage or whatever it's called. And my gosh, have you watched those?
No.
Have you ever seen them?
No.
Oh.
Is this something I'm going to have to watch for next week?
No. All right, man, because this is your homework for this week, man. I want you to give it, and I'm being hugely generous here. I want you to give at least one of those episodes 20 minutes. Okay.
How long are they?
To me. They're feature-length movies.
Oh dear. Okay,
Like,
I'll do it for next week.
Like, the Ewok, like they go back to an Ewok village, because it's got Wicket and some other characters and all that in it, and they've got horses and goats and chickens. like the budget stopped at 2 or 3 Ewoks, and they got sheep, and and it's
they obviously had the costumes and thought, well, we'll have to remake. We can make some more money out of these. They're a bit expensive.
There's a crashed spaceship in one of them. Look, I can't even remember which one because they were that bad. And
the whole Ewok thing was because they couldn't afford Wookiees, could they?
What's that? Sorry.
So I think the original reason they did Ewoks is because they wanted to do that as a Kashyyyk battle, but they couldn't afford Wookiees, and obviously child actors were a lot cheaper as well. So that's actually why they made the Ewoks, because they were cheaper to make the suits because they're smaller. And like I say, probably they were still expensive, so they probably thought, do you know what, we can get a couple more movies out of these.
Oh mate, the budget definitely stopped with these Ewok, whatever these things are. The actors in them, I tell you now, I'd like to see where are they now and where's their careers gone, because it is awful. It's a real stain on Star Wars.
It's funny you should say that, because I'm pretty sure I was one of the child actors from that. I was the kid. I was the second one in the Ewok suit for Ewok Adventures.
Yeah, right. Well, I hope you got paid well, mate.
Obviously not. That's why I'm doing this.
Oh, mate, they were that. I don't think were you even born then? Come on.
No, I don't. When was it? 1988. I was 2. So
you're two.
Yeah, I don't know when Ewok Adventures came out. I know Return of the Jedi was 88-ish, I think. So
Return of the Jedi was 82.
Was it 82?
Was it 82? Was it 82?
I know the original one's 77.
83 around there.
Yeah, but
this will be clarified at the beginning of next week's episode.
yeah. Anyways, we're gonna have to wrap it up there anyway, because it's been over an hour. But if you guys have stayed to the end, thank you, people that were commenting waffles as well. That was hilarious last week. Do you want to have a random word?
What's this week's code word for the end? To tap in the
Ewok Adventures, I'm guessing, from what we've been talking about.
Ewok Adventures. Ewok Adventures in the comments if you made it this far.
but anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. And this is the second episode. It's getting there.
We haven't come up with next week's topics yet.
We'll have to get someone to message it in the.
So can someone give us some ideas, please?
Yeah, give us some ideas, please.
That'd be hugely beneficial.
You can see how well this podcast is put together. But anyways, we'll see you all later, guys. Bye.